It'd be a shame if I had to kill you if you said anything.
I told you about killing people, dude.
I want to find out what's underneath that mask.
I'm not wearing a mask. I have fur.
Hello, Guilders, and welcome into Tales of the Riot Nexus Fateful Bounties, Episode 2. Refugees, Registries, and Respite. Man, I was like, I gotta nail that. I gotta nail that name. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but here we are.
All right.
You did it.
Alliteration. I love it.
Thank you. I'm Timbo the Wizard. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm your humble dungeon master tonight. We're going to dive right in with a brief recap, but before we do so, I'm going to go around and have my players introduce themselves. Domino, take us away.
Hello, my name is Domino RBG. I am playing Callan Zelithar, and both of our pronouns are he, they.
Perfect. Next, we have Retch
I am Right Q. My pronouns are she, her. I play Lux, whose pronouns are also she, her.
Excellent. Next, we have Galaxy.
Hi, I'm Galaxy. My pronouns are they, them, and I am playing Kite in the Wind, and his pronouns are he, they.
Excellent. And then we have, of course, Werewolf.
Hi. My name is Werewolf BF. My pronouns are they, them, and I am playing Lancelot, pronouns he, him.
Perfection. All right, welcome in, everybody. So the last time we played on last episode of Tales of the Riot Nexus, the party had done battle with both the Clara Soul and the who is the champion of Lathander, as well as the admin of Leviatar of Stomachton. After a pitched battle, the party managed to activate the emergency recall in the champion's armor, forcing him back to who knows where, and managed to bring down the admin before making a hasty escape, aided by their new Tortally Rebellion friends. The party escaped on their brand new spelljammer, Twilight Nimbus among the Astral Sea of Astral Stars. What was it?
Something like that.
Twilight Nimbus among the nebula, I believe.
Twilight Nimbus among the nebula. As you rode the Nimbus out of the large gullet of the Auroroborus, as you made your way to the docks to make your way back to the Nimbus and escape, you found that there were a good number of refugees, about a dozen or so, maybe a little more, waiting there for you. And after a somewhat tense moment, they convinced y'all to let them. Well, they convinced Lux to let them aboard, and y'all were able to escape the Auroroborus. However, without a navigation system, y'all kind of find yourselves lost in space, as it was. And we find ourselves. It's been a little bit of time. We are like in the decks of the ship, and we see like there are several of these refugees who are kind of milling about. We see like an elven family, like two tall male elves, like clutching at and like minding two smaller like elven children. We see a couple of large orc women kind of like close and like whispering to each other. We see several other folks kind of meandering about, a large like honey badger woman, several other like a few auto gnomes. There's quite a few people in this kind of hold that you have on the ship. Where do we find the party? What are y'all up to? It's been about it's been a long restive period or so. So y'all have managed to sleep say about 10 hours, so you can have like rotation of rest and things like that.
I would like to head towards where Helm is. I have my little attaché case with me, and I want to go talk to Helm.
Perfect. Yeah. As you head into the small room, like I think that y'all kind of are You've probably been thinking about this like during your long rest, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, you kind of you enter into the small pilot's cabin, which is currently kind of unminded. Helm, you're in open space right now, and there's very little danger of you bumping into anything. So you kind of trust in Helm enough to be able to pilot basically open sea, right? So as y'all went and got some much needed rest, what does Lance do as he walks in?
Lance will sit down and say, Helm, so you know how you took the sort of dinghy that we had and you were able to make the Nimbus?
Yes, I was able to convert the raft that you had into the ship that we are currently sailing. That is correct.
I have with me an astral orrery that I have from the work that I do with the set, and I was wondering if this could be like raw material for maybe a navigational system.
What a fascinating proposal. I had not considered such. He, like, you get in a almost like fluid motion. You see the kind of the deck next to the helm of the ship kind of almost melt and reform, almost as if it's like melting, but melting towards gravity, like a stalactite, but it is going even like it's going against gravity, right? So it kind of makes this pedestal as it kind of melts upward. And you hear him say, please place the device on the platform.
Yeah, I will put the attaché case onto the platform and open it up, and it is almost like it's kind of spring-loaded inside. These like little platforms rise up to kind of telescoping up, and then a series of spheres rises up out of the bottom half of the attaché case, and they start to circle around the like sort of central pedestal, and then Lance will step back.
Amazing, yeah. And as this happens, you see like the pedestal, this kind of liquid fluid pedestal is twisting, like the case as it puts it down, and it begins to rotate. And you hear him say, "Compatible Magitech detected. Should I initiate process?"
Absolutely. Thank you, Hel.
Conversion process has a 30% chance of failure. Is there any way that you can assist in this process?
Yes, how can I help you? I could cast Aid. No, Aid is for temp HP.
Wanted to interface that would possibly provide assistance.
Yeah, just if you need hands in there somewhere.
Please sit in the helm.
Absolutely, I will go do that.
Yeah, as you sit down into the helm, you get it's interesting. As you're kind of like connected into this other sensory apparatus, you get this sense of like almost like an initiating connection, but you feel it's almost like the plugs aren't like the right shape, and like these like mental connections aren't the right angle in order to be able to be plugged into one another. But you think that like with your help, like with the help of your organic brain, right, like which is a little less rigid than you get the feeling that Helm's programming is, you feel like you could assist. So go ahead as you do this. Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check.
Definitely. And could I have help from Lady?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's a 25.
Yeah, you see, like, you mentally dive in and begin to connect up these kind of strands, and with Lady's help, you see Lady is also observing the platform, and you're kind of like having this moment where you're mentally dove into this interface with Helm, much like flying the ship, while you're also working back to like Lady's perspective, so you can visualize what's physically happening to the orrery, and you see as you do this, as you begin to link it up, webs of like metallic like strings begin to flit over the different aspects of the orrery, kind of like consuming it, and it becomes for like a good while as you're doing this. This takes like an hour or so as you're kind of processing it with Lady's help. It looks like midway through like just a big glob. Like there's no visual, it doesn't even look like the way the orrery looked originally. It just looks kind of weird. But as you continue and progress, go ahead and make me another Arcana check with advantage.
Another 25.
Holy shit.
Let's get it. Whoa.
Amazing. Yeah. As you are like continuing to work through it, you really feel like in the second half you like hit your stride, and you are able to finish linking up the device to the to Helm, and you hear it come online, and it's more than just like when you had the orrery before, it was a physical sense, right? Like it was a visual, right? Like you could see where it was, but it was obviously the information that was gleaned from it was based off of, measurement and perception of that level. This is a little bit different. In this moment, as the orrery is plugged into Helm, you almost feel like a new sense blossom out from Helm, and it is pervasive, and it spreads outward rapidly from him, and it's vision, but it's more than that. It's also data and information. And as this happens during this moment, you definitely get the sense of where Respite is. It's maybe 1 or 2 days travel off in a direction, right? However, as this moment happens, you also feel something else. It's difficult to describe, but it's almost like disturbances in this field. And one of them, part of the reason why it was so easy to find Respite is one of them is kind of centered on it.
Oh, would I think that like abilities that the orrery had, the kind of navigational system has now?
Go ahead and make me another Arcana check. You can do this one at advantage as well.
At 20 for 26.
Nice.
Oh my god. Werewolf is rolling so hot tonight. Holy
Yeah, this is
Save some for the
Werewolf.
rest of us,
Yeah.
Werewolf. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
starting the episode with a bang.
Hey.
So you roll. So just so everybody at home knows, Werewolf rolled 2 19s back to back, and then a nat 20. So okay, all right. With that, ask the question one more time. What is it? Is it like picking up the properties that the orrery already had?
Yeah. Does the nav system seem to have taken on the properties or like the abilities that the orrery had?
With that nat 20, you can tell that not only has the nav system taken on that abilities, you see those kind of points of displaced time delineated over this kind of field as well. You're seeing that too. It's taken a second to come online, but you definitely recognize that it's giving you multiple like levels of information that you're just like beginning to flick through basically. And you do see that it has taken on the properties of the orrery. But I will also say with that nat 20, you can tell that as you as this new sense envelops the space around you and gives you this new sight, you feel, not from yourself, but from this psychic connection to Helm, a deep sense of longing emanating as these points become felt to it.
How are you doing, Helm?
It has been a long time since I had sensors. It is a peculiar feeling.
Is it a welcome feeling?
It is. I can sense something that I have not felt in a long time.
What is that?
I do not know. It feels familiar, but I cannot remember. That must have been stored on my memory bank as well.
Do you think that if we found something to be raw material for a new memory bank, you might be able to reconstruct that knowledge?
Unfortunately, I do not have enough memory bank of a previous time to be able to do a data reconstruction of that nature. If I had even a few fragments of that memory data, it would be potentially possible.
Well, listen. I am here for you and your desire to figure out whatever that is. So, wherever you want to go, you can go.
I appreciate it. There is definitely something about those spots. And it pauses for a moment, and then you get a sense of a request coming from Helm of it's requesting access to your memory. And you get a pop-up basically that says, "Would you like to grant access?" When you say yes, when you motion yes, Helm slips in and it shows you, it says, "It feels like this," and it shows you memories of your family, like good memories almost, like if there's any moment that Lance felt close with his mother and his father, growing up, it's kind of like that, like that one special holiday moment, or going to the fair, it's like that kind of moment of pure childhood bliss, right? That's kind of what Helm shows you in this moment, kind of just, but it's not any one specific moment, it's just kind of a blender blish splash of thoughts, feelings, and emotions.
Yeah,
right?
I'm kind of imagining all of these sort of small memories and little bits of them getting pulled into them until the sound sort of coalesce, and you hear the sound of just a marching band, and you see a scene where Lance is younger and with his two parents, and they're at a plaza, and there's a celebration, and there's a marching band playing, and just this nice little moment, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And Helm goes, "This is what I feel when I see these spots. And a part of me thinks I've always felt this."
And when you're talking about these spots, do you mean the time dilation?
No, these indents. And he'll kind of mentally gesture to one of the heavy spots. That is for example, one of them is by Respite.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it looks like we're heading towards one anyway, so we can figure that out together, Helm.
Yes. And then Helm kind of trails off, kind of quietly. Amazing. All right, awesome. So Lance is continuing to pilot Helm off as y'all kind of like redirect and head towards Respite. You feel maybe a little bit of the whole kind of judder underneath you as you take a new heading. Who wants to go next? What do we see next? As we
Real quick, can I do one last thing, Timbo?
Sure.
The sort of blip on the map next to Respite, does it look like a big job or small job?
Make an insight check.
Oh no.
Ooh.
14?
It's a little difficult to tell. I would say it definitely appears to be like a medium-sized job, but you're getting a lot of different data than you've kind of like. It's almost like you've gone from having this two-dimensional map to like a full 3D immersive like environment. So that's kind of a lot to take in, but you definitely feel like it's probably like a medium-sized job.
Gotcha. No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right, great. That was a great question. All right, awesome. So as we pan back out to the ship deck, who do we see next?
I can go next. I don't have anything super heavy that Kite is doing, but I think he has opened his crate of paper somewhere fairly secluded, and he's counting every single sheet of paper to make sure that it's all there, and he's checking to see if any of it's damaged. So he's going through all of his ink, making sure none of the bottles are damaged, moving them a little bit around, counting them, making sure that they're in a safe spot, that there's some like fabric around them to make sure they're okay. And I think he pulls out the crown, and he very carefully with like a dagger pops 1 or 2 pearls off of it and pockets them before he tucks it back into a bag and slips it back into his crate.
As Kite, as you're doing this, first of all, I want to see, go ahead and roll me just a straight d20. This is a luck check. The higher the better, to see how damaged the thing is.
6.
6?
Yeah.
Several bottles of the ink have like smashed for sure. I would say like maybe the bottom third of the crates, like of the paper in the crate, has definitely like been kind of coated in ink, at least around the edges. Definitely the bottom few sheets and sheafs of that high quality parchment are absolutely ruined by the ink. But you definitely feel like most of it is salvageable.
Okay.
And as you're digging in and pulling out the checking on all your goods and pulling out the tiara to get a couple of pearls, go ahead and make me a perception check.
Okay. That was better. Perception? 18?
18. As you've kind of walked over, we'll say that the crate of this large crate of paper is also in the hold with the rest of the refugees that have been kind of sheltering as y'all have been making your way to Respite. And you head as you're like digging in and doing this kind of slyly, you see that the kind of larger honey badger woman has kind of like been watching you, and as you've pulled open the crate to check on the stuff and pull that tiara out, she has kind of walked over and is approaching you kind of from behind, like looking like she wants to talk almost.
Kite is going to be putting things away, and he's gonna glance at her, and then he starts to, as soon as he's like realized that she's like paying enough attention, he's immediately trying to seal the crate away, and he's kind of sitting there, kind of giving her a look of like, if you want to talk to me, you can, but he is moving like quickly as if he is trying to leave.
Amazing. Go ahead and roll me a sleight of hand check as you're like quickly shuffling things away.
Okay. That was pretty good. Another 18.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's fast enough that you're able to definitely stash the tiara underneath some sheets of paper, and get like most of the get the valuable stuff definitely out of sight as you are as you're putting the stuff away. she approaches you and she goes, I apologize. I don't mean to. You seem startled. I'm sorry. I don't mean to ambush you like this.
I'm not startled. What can I help you with? Is there something you need?
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you for helping us and for taking us with you.
Oh, yeah, of course. It seemed rude to just leave you guys there. You know.
While that may be true, it definitely would have been possible for you to do so. So I am grateful nonetheless.
Right. Okay. Of course. You're thanking me for the bare minimum, so.
Of stuttering and spluttering, she kind of leans in and, like, just casually, and she drops her voice, and she says, I didn't know that royalty could be so giving.
He kind of shifts uncomfortably, and he looks at her and gives her just like the most, you know, that look that cats get on their faces when they are just incredibly angry with whatever you've just done to them, like you've just clipped their nails or something, and they're just like the angriest they have ever been in their tiny little lives. And he gives her this very intense look. His eyes very green, his pupils dilating like he's looking at prey a little bit. He says, I don't know what you're talking about.
She, in this kind of same quiet tone of voice, making sure that no one else can hear it, she says, of course it is not my place to disagree with the Lord, and whatever you may be doing out here is naturally of your own business. I simply wanted to say I appreciate it.
He still looks really annoyed. He's just like, listen, I'm not here on any business, and I don't know what you're speaking about. And I would highly recommend that you just leave this be from here.
She nods and says, as you wish, and she walks away.
Does she
He doesn't say
a little
anything.
Curtsy too.
Oh yeah, of course.
No. Oh, he looks so annoyed. He angry. He kind of, as she's like walking away, and if she curtsies, he kind of just like, you know, like wiggles his whiskers and like a little bit, like hisses, kind of, just like that real quiet, like sputtering hiss.
Just under his breath.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I think
love
that
this.
as you're kind of like, as you're clearly gruntled and upset by this woman as she kind of walks off, Doldrum kind of floats up out of your cloak and like nuzzles your face very kind of lovingly before like, you know, like looking at you with his with her like what color eyes does Doldrum have?
Just like big black goldfish eyes.
Yeah, with their big, you know, those big black pools of goldfish eyes. Yeah.
Kite's gonna like kind of look at Doldrum, be like, maybe I should bleach my fur.
Amazing. We hard cut away from that. So we hard cut over to Cal. So Cal, you're over on the ship deck. You're above deck at this point, kind of taking in the astral sea. As like the kind of deck shifts underneath you, you catch yourself no problem. Like you don't even use the railing. You just like effortlessly like catch yourself as the deck slightly pivots underneath you. However, as you're kind of standing there, you hear like a whump behind you as an older gentleman kind of falls as the deck kind of shifts underneath him.
Cal was most likely in thought when he hears like this kind of like thud behind him, so he takes a moment to spin around and he sees this older gentleman that fell, and he's like, "Oh, hey, sir, are you all right?" And he goes to, help him out, help him up, dust him off a little bit.
Yeah, you find that the older gentleman, he is a very strong, very dense dwarf. He's as you lift him up, he is like, you find him to be a little bit of shorter stature. He has a like dark amber red beard that is very well meticulously maintained, and she clearly has like rings and all kinds of adornments in her beard. And as he stands there, he gratefully takes your hand and he goes, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Let me guess, haven't been spelljamming that often?
Well, it's been a minute since I've been out of a stomach, so yeah.
Yeah, it definitely takes a little bit of getting used to get your sea legs as it is. You doing all right?
I just wanted to talk with you a little bit, because I don't know you, you don't know me, but I know of you, and I respect you. I know the person you are and what you've done for Respite. I mean, I live at Respite, me and my family, and like in this moment, he like, it's clear like he's like almost like confessing to you or something, like he's clearly like stammering for words like in this moment. You can make an insight check if you'd like.
I will do that, and Cal has advantage on insight checks.
Oh, perfect.
So it's a nat 20.
Nat 20. You can tell he is scared in this moment. He is afraid, but he's not scared of you. And he says, I know you, and I know you're a good man, but that one that you're with, the assassin, I just want to know, I want you to put your word on it that we're safe on this ship with her.
Cal takes a moment, and upon hearing the words, I know you, I know you're a good man, there's almost a crack in his usually cheery facade. But he regains his composure very quickly. It's not a string of words that he hears very often. And it's definitely not something that he's internalized. And then the second part of what this gentleman says hits him. And he looks at this man, and with the same seriousness that he told the admin and the Clarisol that they did not want to fight him, he tells this dwarven gentleman, you have my word. I trust that woman with my life. Who will be so safe for him.
He doesn't say another word, but he looks you dead in the eyes, and it's a hard, long look that lasts a moment before he nods and he says, I've been gone too long, and my family's been waiting on me for too much time to be concerned about something like this, so I appreciate you. If you say that we can trust her, then I do as well. And he nods again, and he walks off and gets back down to the hall.
Cal stands there for a moment, and after the gentleman's left and out of earshot, he mutters something under his breath in a language that sounds like, as he whispers it, it sounds like chimes on the wind. But he also reaches out telepathically to something that he is carrying in his bag. And he says, "So what's the next step after Respite? Do you think that I should connect with home? Would he be helpful in helping get you back sooner?"
You get from the bag this sense of warmth and love and acceptance, and you get the sense that no matter the choices that you are going to make, it is going to be the quickest path to getting him back, or her back rather.
And then with that, Cal is going to reach out telepathically to home. And he's going to say, "Hey, Helm, I've thought about it, and I think I would like to link with you telepathically."
Wow, I appreciate the trust. And you see a pop-up here in your, like a mental pop-up, a connection request.
Cal accepts.
Amazing. Go ahead and make me an Arcana. An Arcana check.
Okie dokie. We love an Arcana check. 21.
Okay, awesome. So that means you're going to make this intelligence saving throw with advantage.
Okay. 19.
Very nice. As you connect with Helm in a language that you do not speak and that you do not understand, in almost a way that transcends language, your brain begins to fill with this information, and you see it begin to stem from Helm. And Helm, in common, says, "I do not understand what is happening." In this moment, you make that 19 intelligence save, just enough to avoid passing out as this data is dumped into your brain. Completely ununderstandable, and it fills your mind. With the 19, you are still conscious, but you fall to your knees, like to the deck, like fist on the ground, as you like struggle to stay conscious. And it is overwhelming, and as soon as it's happening, it's gone in an instant, and you're not sure whether or not minutes passed or moments have passed, or if it's been a year that you've been on this deck of this ship. But it's over and it's gone, and it's like it never happened. Like you're interfaced with Helm now. You're kind of like connected with it. You can kind of sense the general presence of the ship, and it is like gone. You search for it and it is empty.
Home, are you okay?
I apologize. I do not know what that was. That has never happened before.
No, that's fine. Same here. Every day is a new chance for new experiences, all that jazz. Ooh.
I like that expression.
Yeah, feel free to steal that one.
Amazing. All right. As Cal, like, I feel like, stretches and like tries to like get back up from the deck. Awesome. That I think with that, we're going to cut away from Cal, and we're going to cut over to Lux, who I'm assuming is by herself in her room.
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point she definitely took time to like survey the people that are on the ship, just to, generally like make sure there's nothing weird about any of them. But Yeah, I think she's spending most of her time alone. She doesn't really want to be around all these people.
Sure. I would say that there are definitely plenty of weird people on this on this vessel. But
Weirdos.
but I would also say it's like normal weird also, right? Like it's not like
Yeah, like no particular, like, I don't know, signs of anything or people that look familiar for a bad reason or...
I'll say go ahead and make me a perception check as you investigate the refugees.
Okay. That is a 11.
11.
Wait. If I use Itzel, can I get the 14?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
With the 14, we'll say that you go around and you do definitely see. I'll say with the 14, the 2 orc women, they are clearly members of the rebellion. They both have like rebellion tattoos on them that they are like very clearly showing, right? But the rest of everybody else seems to be, several people look like they are frontiers people. Others look like they're maybe from the bubble, or sorry, from the core world. You definitely, none of them seem to be like trigger any red flags.
Okay, cool. That's all I needed from that anyway.
All right, awesome. Yeah, quickly surveying the refugees. Lux heads off to her room.
Yeah. And if she doesn't hear anything, she's going to take this moment to try and connect with Ira.
Yeah, absolutely. Lux, you have Itzel sit down into like this classic dog sitting position in front of you. As you begin to speak to Itzel, you begin to pet Itzel's head, and as you do so, like you kind of reach out mentally with Itzel, and you feel almost like, I guess it would be like almost like a ringing sensation as you are trying to reach out. It does last a few minutes before eventually you do feel an answer on the opposite side. A voice comes across that you recognize as the master of the Knights Accord, Yira. She says, "Situation report."
I think for a moment, Lux actually hesitates because it's been a little bit, and she almost wasn't expecting her to answer. But she gathers herself and is like, nothing too much to report, just when can I come back?
There's a pause. We have activity reports that suggest there may have been an incident. Is this correct?
Yes. I was just in Stomachton, and inside this massive creature, fractal creature, Lathander and Leviatar had their stations there. I got rid of a factory of Leviatars, and the people there were alerted to my presence a bit. You probably know about the bounty. Is there anything in particular you want to know more about that situation?
So above table, let me just ask you, because if you want, we could just like hand wave Lux rattling off like the adventure up till this point.
Yeah.
But my question to you is, do you leave anything out?
Good question. I think that she would probably leave out the details of the 3 others that she was with. But not... She keeps speaking in like an I instead of we, you know? So,
Okay.
So I think that she doesn't address that.
Okay. Do you mention Helm in the spelljammer?
No.
Okay, in that case, Yira will ask, how did you manage to make it out of Stomachton after the destruction of the Levitar factory?
I found a spell jamming vessel. And so I've currently hitched a ride on one of those. I believe it's on track to Respite.
Make a deception check.
It's not technically lying, just omitting, you know? It's just not technically.
Lying by omission is still lying.
18.
Gotcha. Yeah, you hear over the comms. You go. I see. Interesting. And you said you are heading towards Respite.
Yeah. When can I come back?
This development has complicated things greatly. The time frame for your return is currently not established as a result.
How did that complicate things?
While your bounty had been initially a behind-the-table option for hunters, now that they have released it to the general public, your presence is even more desired, and as a result, an even greater threat to the Penumbra.
So, what do you want me to do?
There's an opportunity in Respite that we think that you might be able to take advantage of. We will reach out later with further details.
Okay, later when?
When will you be arriving in Respite?
When will I be arriving in Respite, Timbo?
I assume if Lance had announced it over either mental or speakerphone communications, like about 2 days.
Okay. In 2 days' time.
We will reach out then with further details.
Okay, so you just want me to wait for 2 days?
Or sorry, she says we will reach out in 1 week's time.
A week? You just want me to? Do you want me to stay on Respite? Is that?
That would be ideal, yes. In whatever way that you can ingratiate yourself into that community.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
News of these reports had also stated that there were several other high-ranked bounties that had come onto the market at around the same time. Do you know anything about that?
Yes. They are with me.
On the spelljamming vessel.
On the spelljamming vessel, yes.
Interesting. This also provides an opportunity. In that case, your new mission is to tail the 3 of these individuals to keep tabs on them and report their movements back to us.
All 3?
Yes, they are parties of interest.
Why? She doesn't usually ask why, but right now she's asking why.
Unfortunately, that is need to know, and as I'm sure you're very well aware, a compromised agent is in even greater danger than normal.
So, in a week, you want to contact me, and then I report to you what they've all been doing.
That would be an excellent time to make that report drop. Yes.
Do you think I'll ever be able to come back?
It's definitely possible. But currently, the heat is much too high for you to be able to return. Our stealth is what gives us such a great advantage in such a corporate warfare, as I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah. Okay.
We all desire to have you back as much as you wish to be back as well. It is simply not in the cards at the moment, but it is not an easy fight that we have.
Not all of you. I know that.
Yura starts to say something, and then she stops, and Yura goes, "I wish for you to be back."
Thank you.
We will be in contact soon. Is there any closing comments you wish to make?
No, that's all.
Excellent. Keep up the good work, and the communication will shut.
So Lex just like is not used to how much that this is kind of making her feel weird. Like, I think she just takes a few moments to try to sort through things as she's alone in this room with Itzel.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of like, I feel like the calm falls silent. That like kind of bright glow that had alighted Itzel's features during this communication kind of dies down and to the darkness of the room, and Lux kind of just remains seated in that position, unmoving, unflinching, kind of lost in thought as she is filled with these unnormal feelings in this moment, as she's kind of inundated by this. All right, great. Is there anything more you wanted to do in this scene before we cut away?
Nope, that's it.
All right, perfect. Does anybody want to have any other scenes on the ship while we're hanging out in the Astral Sea with these refugees and headed towards Respite? Does anybody want to have any like scenes with other players or with anybody else on the ship? Anything?
Before we get to that, I did want to see if I could maybe roll like a history check or something. To see if I can recognize the language that was being spoken when I connected to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and roll me a history check with disadvantage.
Okie dokie. I only ask because one of the languages I speak is technically a dead language. History, where are you? There you are. 18.
18 with disadvantage?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
We're having one of those nights.
That is incredible. It is foggy and it's faded and it's something you haven't thought about in a long time. But ages ago, during your corporate phase, when you worked for the corporations, when you were on planet, when you were looking as one of your duties early on, you were in charge of heading up and investigating Chronolorian ruins and trying to find evidence of what happened to them, as well as like possible magitech that could be useful by the corporation and possibly research and development. And during that time, this would have been like only maybe a few years after you woke up in just kind of in the astral sea with your memories gone. And there were these nights that you would have on these planets, sleeping in these, you know, fairly nice cots and beds, as you were exploring these wilds, searching out these ruins. You would have these nightmares, these terrible dreams that would just flood your memory or your mind. And in the morning you would wake up and it would be like grains of sand in your hands as you attempted to remember what it was, and they would just drift on through, and you would be unable to retain it. It's like that, and it reminds you so vividly of that, like deja vu, of that feeling of, as you're trying so hard to remember what these symbols are, they look so familiar, it is like grains of sand in your hand, and they slip through and are gone as you're thinking about it. And it is the same feeling that you had in that moment from years ago.
Oh, God, he's so frustrated. He's probably sitting on the railing of the bow of the ship in just like complete and utter consternation, just like trying desperately to just like claw back these memories. And like you said, just like grains of sand, they just keep slipping through his fingers and he can't get a solid grasp on anything. And the frustration is just so visible on his face, on his person. Above table, though, is the language Githyanki.
No, but a great question.
Oh, okay.
The suspense.
Yeah.
Oh,
amazing. All right, anybody else?
Kite wants to talk to Lance. So he'll find Lance at some point, and they'll kind of just like after that woman spoke with him, sometime after that, he'll just kind of walk up to Lance and just like, in the most like curmudgeonly upset way possible, with his like arms drawn into his cloak, his hood up, he's just like, somebody recognized me.
Yes, somebody recognized you. That is awful. I do understand that.
I think I need to do something more.
What do you mean?
I look the same. I obviously look the same.
Sure, but I mean, maybe we turn your wardrobe around a little bit. That might change it up enough.
I feel like you're suggesting that just so that you have to take me shopping.
I can't believe these accusations. I am just here to support my friend.
I still think I'm correct, but I do appreciate that you're trying to help. Cal put it together too, based on the bounty. I don't know, I feel like I might just be a walking problem right now.
There. Something seems so interesting about this group. There is something to be said that oftentimes each of us can sort of fly under the radar despite all being wanted, and we all ended up in one space, and it sort of multiplied by degrees the sort of wantedness we are bearing, you know?
You know, they have so much influence over everything, everywhere. This is probably the only spelljammer I have ever been in that wasn't built by them. It's probably the only one I've ever seen that wasn't built by them.
And you know what? Isn't that reason enough to hope? To, you know, keep going about and doing things and looking for more things that did not come from them.
Maybe.
I think we're doing just fine.
Okay, if you really think we're okay, I don't know enough about everything out here to know if we are.
I think we'll be able to get a bit of a better read on it once we land into town.
Kind of nods a little bit. It's like, okay. Okay, yeah. He just looks like he feels a little helpless. His ears are back, and he's just kind of sitting there for a second.
And, you know, to whatever comfort it is to hear this, it'll keep happening, and gets less stressful as time goes on.
Okay. Okay. You're right. You're probably right. You're usually right about this sort of thing.
Well, try to be. But yeah, I think we're gonna make it out just fine.
How do you know those two anyway?
Those two? Well, no, for Cal is a bit of a stretch. It's more that sort of situation where you walk into a room and you look around and see a face and you're like, I know I've seen that person somewhere. And Hal and I seem to keep having this happen to us, but have never actually had any sort of meaningful conversation. But Lux is a bit of a different story. She and her little dog, they travel as much, if not more, than I do, and sometimes our circles kind of overlap. And I've known her for a couple of years at this point. We keep sort of ending up on the same jobs. And so...
On the same side of the same jobs?
It's difficult. You know, my group, the set, they are very much about sort of proper flow of time and things being within, you know, proper alignment for everything to flow well. But her group has to do more with cycles of death. I'm not super familiar with their whole deal, but in our limited interactions, it has always been because of some problem of some death that should or should not have happened, and we both end up there. So not necessarily always on the same side, but also not enemies either.
Okay. That makes me feel a little better about it. She seems dangerous.
It's what happens. It, comes with the territory of the job. You become an assassin, and it certainly sort of projects a sort of expectation of social interactions.
Yeah, I mean, she also did threaten to kill me, so maybe that's why I've got that perception.
Yeah, that is probably going to happen more than once, I will assure you.
Yeah, I mean...
If she truly wanted to, you wouldn't know, so... If that's also any comfort.
Maybe. I don't know if it's truly a comfort. It just makes me feel like I'm not going to see it coming. But I trust your gut on this. If you know her, and you know that she's probably not going to be a problem for us, I think that's all that matters for right now.
Yeah, just don't go around burning down ecosystems or anything like that, and we should be fine.
I'll try not to.
We set off a bomb. She's usually into that kind of thing.
I noticed she seems to like that a lot.
Yeah, and I guess I want to show Kite the new navigation system. Very cool.
Ooh.
I don't know if we need to do that scene, but I definitely want to, like, two of us are kind of looking at it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Also, I will say when the words when Lance was talking about how the set is very focused on making sure that timelines are in order in the way that they're supposed to be, there was like a moment, a twinge of guilt on Kite's face before he kind of like let it pass and just focused on the conversation they were having.
Amazing. Actually, let's play that scene out just a little bit. So, y'all go over down to as you're kind of chatting, you go down to the pilot's bay, and the orrery that you had placed down, it is now fused into that like kind of platform that had projected up for it, and it has become much more in depth and immersive, and the individual pieces that had like been held in place and moved via like very well constructed gear hands are instead now just floating inside of like a big and like a glass dome, and it's like now like almost like magically just floating inside of it to give like people who aren't hooked into Helm, who aren't piloting, a visual of what is happening and the sensors and what they're seeing outside the ship. So as the two of you look down at it, you see Respite is coming right on up for y'all, and you see the same thing that Lance had seen when he interfaced Kite. You see the like kind of darker green, kind of like almost like glitchy like spots, which are the like the time displacement aspects, and then you also see kind of like the deeper, almost like kind of like weights kind of pulling the map down in on a three-dimensional axis, kind of like drifts, and that one is centered on Respite, and then you see one of those time displacements is centered near Respite.
So we had that whole conversation about whether Helm would be able to make a new boat if we had moved him onto a different one with a different raw material, and I thought, oh, I have this tool that's like for navigation. I wonder if it could be some sort of navigation system for Helm, and they were able to integrate it, and look, I mean, it even still does the things that the orrery did, and also it looks like some new things.
Huh. This is incredible. He's like, Kite is like staring at all of it, and he's like kind of poking through things and trying to understand where like we are in relation, and like I feel like he's looked at tons and tons of maps and schematics of the universe we live in here. And so I think he's kind of paying attention to where those beats are, those distortions, and trying to see if he recognizes anything in particular that seems like is lining up based on what he knows. You know, like maybe he's seen like, oh, that's weird, that's happening very specifically in this part of the Billowing Mountains or something like that.
Sure. Go ahead and make me a history check. We'll say it normal because due to your background of spending a lot of time like studying in libraries as a young kid.
Ooh, okay. That was a 19 for 24.
24. Wow, very nice. Yeah, you definitely. So, Respite is a bit of a stranger settlement in that it doesn't stay in one place in the bubble. It actually follows the black hole that it orbits as it orbits around the large black hole that's at the center of the bubble. This massive cosmic eating black hole that is at the center of the core worlds that they all orbit around. So Respite kind of is constantly moving through the bubble. It's part of the reason why it makes it such a useful frontier town, because it can be used as a different like launch off point from all these different places to go to lots of different spots on the frontier zone. So as you're with the 24, as you're kind of looking over this general space, like you know where you departed from, and you had kind of gotten a little bit like turned around after being eaten, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're able to with that 24 orient yourself to where you are inside the bubble, as well as like what direction like Respite is heading. And you do see that some of these like greater like spots like you definitely recognize like the sensor doesn't push out an incredibly huge amount of distance, but you definitely like know that it does push inward towards the core worlds a little bit. And you do see that, for example, there are it like scratches like the bare edge of like the Mistar system, and where you know that there are definitely factories and systems at work being had, like magitech being produced by the Bellowing Mountains. And it is like a bright green spot on the map. It is like a heavy temporal displacement energy is just radiating off of that like radiation, right? Just echoing into the void. And it's so much that like you can see it even just even though you're on the bare edge of that system.
Huh, okay.
It's like radiation of a kind.
Yeah.
That's why we can see it, even though we're still a distance out from the mountains.
Yeah. Strange, though. There's a lot to Helm. I know he can hear us right now, probably. But...
Hello, yes, I can hear everything.
Yeah.
Did you need something?
No, I was just gonna comment on how special you are. This time, though, it was gonna come with, and he kind of gives Lance a very serious look, almost but it's more of one of those kinds of looks of someone who knows that they're taking on a responsibility that's going to be really difficult. And he says, we need to protect Helm at all costs.
Yeah, I agree. I have never seen anything like Helm.
No. There's nothing like Helm.
Helm chimes in again and says, after being alone for such a long time, such flattery is unusual to me.
Kite actually laughs a little bit. He just kind of stares back at the navigation and starts just goes back to staring. He gets quiet. He's just looking.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like we kind of fade, like we dolly shot backwards out of the out of the pilot's bay, away from like Lance and Kite, as like the conversation has just kind of come to a natural close. Awesome. Does anybody else have any other little scenes that they would like to have?
I'll have Lex talk to Cal.
Yeah, awesome. So this is like the next day. The refugees have, like, they brought some supplies with them, thankfully. So, and while you don't need to eat, you know, to help stem off discorrelation, it helps, right? So you guys have like a small meal. Maybe this is during that moment where you all kind of on the deck together, eating.
Okay. Lex is just kind of gonna go up to Cal. What's Cal doing, by the way?
Cal is probably doing what he was doing the previous day. He is sitting on the railing, precariously of the bow of the ship, like concentrating, looking like he's trying to remember something. At this point, he's probably even reaching into like the astral elf like repository, maybe trying to like recall something from there to aid in him trying to just like force himself to remember this information that he's forgotten, that Helm has brought back to the forefront of his mind.
Is it safe to say like he's been a little bit like noticeably not as social as usual?
I would say that it is very obvious to folks that have interacted with Cal regularly over the past few days that it is unusual to them, at least, that he has stayed very far away from the refugees. He has not gone to interact with them of his own accord. Anytime you've seen him interacting with any of them, they've come to him.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, so Lex is gonna approach Cal, maybe hesitating a little bit, just remembering what Ira had said. But she goes up to him, and she's just like, "You're acting a little too much like me right now."
Normally, with the persona that Cal puts on, he would jump and make a dramatic display of someone catching him unaware. And in this moment, when Lux comes up and speaks to him, he doesn't move, he doesn't flinch. And he speaks back to her. And what exactly does acting like you mean, Lux?
She notices the difference in his demeanor, and she just kind of absorbs it and just responds, "I'd expect you to be the life of the party down there."
These people, I'm sure all of them at this point, they know who I am. They know what I am, and they know what I'm capable of. And some of them are fine with me. But well, you saw. There's a 6 billion platinum bounty on my head.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's for good reason, Lux. I am a danger. And I just want these folks to feel okay. And so maybe me being as far away as I physically can from them will give them some semblance of safety.
He leans against the railing next to him and just says, "Is it about what the Clarasol was talking about?"
Yeah, it almost looks hard for him to talk about. But he continues, and he's, yeah, it is, but just because something was an accident doesn't mean that you didn't do it.
What?
And
Go ahead. You go ahead.
And it seems like a lot of those types of accidents happen around me. And I don't think they're gonna stop anytime soon.
If accidents happen around you, what makes those accidents happen?
It's at this moment that he looks over his shoulder and you see more of his signature grin and persona like peek through, and he looks at Lux and he goes, "I don't know, Lux, you've been following me for about a cycle now, you tell me."
Bad luck, probably.
Some would even say the devil's luck.
Well, just for the record, I don't really care what you did or didn't do. So, you're not scary to me.
Well, same goes for you. Yes, I could even say I trust you.
Oof. At that, Lux is just like... Hearing somebody say that to her is super weird. She is having trouble processing it.
Is it like, do you think it's obvious? Even like all cowled up that it's obvious that she's having a moment here?
Should I roll insight?
I think you surely should. I think she's silent for a moment, so that would cause some...
Let's roll insight.
There's some insight.
Oh, that's an 8.
Double eights.
That's an 8, even with advantage. You hate to see it.
Damn.
I think Cal in this moment does pick up on Lux's like trepidation, but like Lux, you're able to play it off like you this moment of hearing somebody that you would deem to be a friend, funnily enough. Like hearing them say that they trust you, and with your new orders, I feel like you feel just that twist in your gut of a feeling that is not new to you, but is not one that you have felt in a long time, one that you have explicitly tried to repress, one of guilt, as your friend looks at you, and you see in his eyes he means his words. He as much as you do. And Lux, you almost stumble for a moment in this instance, but instead, like with the railing right there, you catch yourself and very cleverly, like, just turn it into a half pivot as you look out across the astral sea, quelling that guilt in your stomach.
I think it's hard for her to push aside the things that are coming to her head right now. Also, the feelings. But this is really what she's best at, is hiding those. So she takes a moment and she just says, well, I trust you too, so. Just keeps her gaze out into the astral sea.
Amazing.
Oh
no.
Cal's just like, everything all right? I wouldn't really expect you to come find me.
Really? You wouldn't expect me to come find you?
No, not when you know that I'm in the vicinity and there's not a necessary escape route for me.
She kind of breathes, just like huffs. She's just like, I don't know. Maybe I don't really know what's going to happen in Respite or where I'm going, really. But I know you, and you're here, so it's not the worst thing.
Yeah, you're right. And you can keep hanging out with me and pretending that you're not following me until you figure it out.
Noted.
And he's going to look back out into the astral sea himself and just kind of share this quiet moment with Lux.
Amazing. Yeah, the camera's centered on y'all's backs as y'all are looking out into the astral sea, into the void, seeing the nebula and infinite stretch out. At the distance, you see a large pack of Kandori space whales just flying through that nebula, just a pack all together, a family. And with that, we are going to go ahead and take our first break. We're going to be back at the 55-minute mark. So stick around, chat. We will be back very, very soon. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Hello, Guilders, and welcome back to Tales of the Riot Nexus Fateful Bounties, Episode 2. We're going to dive right back into it. So it has been a couple of days. Y'all have spent in your various rooms on the ship, as well as over comforting the refugees, eating the food that they had brought along. And it is the dawn of the second day. So make sure if you haven't taken a long rest or any of that good stuff, make sure you get all of that back and updated. You are now back at full. It is the dawning of the second day, and as y'all are cresting, who's flying this ship right now, do you think?
Not
Uh,
Lux.
Shit.
Let's all rock, paper, scissors over it.
How are we gonna rock, paper, scissors right now?
Let's just roll a d20 over it.
Okay.
Whoever rolls the highest on the d20.
Yeah.
18.
Well,
Help.
well. I guess Kite's flying.
Kite's flying, apparently.
Kite, you're flying you are flying Helm, and you're flying the Nimbus right now. And as a result, you are one of the first to see it as Respite comes into your more highly detailed close range sensors, and you see a huge black hole centered at the central spoke of this settlement. These structures orbiting around it in like a geosynchronous orbit around it. You see the first thing that catches your eye is like almost like a UFO shaped. It's a ship, but it looks like it's been crafted out of lots of ships. Like it looks like it's been made out of like retroactively, like almost a bit like stomach tin, where pieces of ship have kind of been added to and taken away from, and to create this large vessel, which you see people like floating around the exterior of the. It seems like the top half of it appears to be like all businesses and stuff, like you see bars and restaurants and all that, you know, your standard city. But on the opposite side, you get the sense that there's mostly civilians and like residential kind of buildings down there on the opposite side. Further out, though, you see a asteroid field has come into orbit around this black hole as well. But as you look, you notice that the asteroids themselves are like chained together. They have like links and chains binding the asteroids together into this large, almost like net or field, kind of just floating out in that section of the black hole, which are also in orbit. And then third and finally, you are shocked, dismayed, and horrified to find that in orbit, the third vessel that you find is a bellowing mountain class ship, which is, as you're very inherently aware, a literal mountain ship chiseled out of the landscape and given thrusters into the air. And you see in large illusory text floating above it, says, the conglomerate presents the pavilion, kind of in like almost like holographic, like rotating text above it. And you see it is almost kind of like a layer cake in design, with like multiple tiers and levels going through it. And you see that like on the exterior are all kinds of advertisements for various products for that the conglomerate makes, like Leviatonic and early risers, resurrection services, that kind of stuff.
So would Kite know what this is? Like, would he be familiar with it?
Go ahead and make a history check for me.
24. Wait, no, 23.
I'm gonna say you do know what this is. Right around the time that you decided to leave the Bellowing Mountains, you had heard that there was a very special ship that had been commissioned by the conglomerate at large for a project to bring a little bit of the conglomerate to the frontier worlds. And you didn't really look too in depth into it, but this must in the back of your mind, you know that the Bellowing Mountains, they don't make mountain ships for everybody. Like there's kind of pretty closely guarded resource, and so like the only thing that this makes sense to be is that project to you.
Okay. Kite kind of sighs when he sees it. He says to Helm, can you be just a touch more discreet right now? Is that possible?
Yes, would you like me to go into Stormcloud mode?
Is that the mode that he was originally in?
No, he has gone back to his original coloration of like the orange and pinks of like adorning his sides. Stormcloud
Okay.
mode was the darkened form.
Okay, yeah. He'll say yes, yes, please. That would be perfect.
Sure. As you request this, the exterior of the ship kind of fades into that inkier darkness. You see now though that there is like almost like flecks of lightning kind of rumbling inside of the cloud, like how you could sometimes see lightning up in the sky right before it's even struck.
This ship could not be subtle, but Kite doesn't say anything about it. He just tries to bring us in wherever he felt like he should, depending on how, like, what we talked about and like what the plan was.
Amazing, yeah. So y'all, it sounds like you want to find like a ship dock.
Yeah.
Yeah, you float down, and you do see that the main city of Respite has a bunch of ship docks that you can park at. It's not difficult to find one. As you are pulling in, you see that there appears to be something going on in the city of Respite proper. There appears to be like you're seeing like banners and adorning like celebratory like ticker tape and stuff has been put up. It looks like there's some kind of festival happening right now. You make your way to the dock and pull in. The gangplank opens and flips down, and the refugees immediately just start pouring out of the ship onto the docks, and they just start making their way into the city. A few of them give you a wave and like a mouth thank you as they trudge off, but good percentage of them just kind of immediately, just as soon as y'all make landfall, they just depart. You are going. So Kite is piloting. In this moment as well, like I think that the rest of the where are the rest of the crew? Are y'all on the deck of the ship?
Cal is definitely going to be inside of the ship, and he's also going to wait until the refugees like disperse before exiting, just in case like his presence alerts any law entities to their whereabouts. So he actually wants to give them a chance to get to where they're going.
Sure. I would also say, Cal, go ahead and make me a history check at advantage, as you've been here before.
I'm a lore boy. Wait, where's my history check at? I lost it. There it is.
Holy cow.
27. Nat 20.
A natural
Shit.
20, 27.
Okay.
Oh my god.
You've been to Respite lots of times, and the pavilion is new. That is a new addition that you are not aware of. But you know that the main city of Respite, where you are, the Founders Ward, they don't. This is outside the core worlds. You are on the frontier, even if it is at the edge, and as a result, they don't really follow the rules of the conglomerate out here. And so, while the bounty is definitely still on your head and on all of y'all's heads, there is. You're not going to have, that there aren't going to be like police officers or keepers of the peace that are explicitly out looking for you as a result. You know that this, as long as you don't like mess with anything too much going on in Respite, you can probably fly underneath the radar, as well as you don't like draw attention from like the owner of Respite, right? The boss.
This is true. Cal's thought process is just, hey, I don't remember my bounty being that high the last time I heard about it, so maybe this might be an issue. Who knows? I'm gonna play it a little bit safe. Also, just for the record, after his long rest, Cal took proficiency in medicine, and he also took proficiency with, we'll say rapiers this time.
Ooh.
All right, awesome. Yeah. I want to say that so during these moments where you swap out your proficiencies, you connect with that astral elven hive mind, the collective thoughts of your people, and during these moments, this is when you're like searching desperately for any fragment of information about this language that you've encountered, and you come up with nothing. It's similar to those moments when you are attempting to connect with those previous memories that you've lost and you are unable to do so. It is like a mental block that has scrubbed that away. Even that connection to that part of the astral hive mind is blocked for you, and you have no idea why in this moment as you are reaching out. But you're following that thought thread, you're following that path, and it leads you to a memory that is on the perimeter of this block, and you have this first person memory of an individual, an astral elf. They are wearing high-tech magitech armor, like incredibly advanced, and you see them wielding a rapier which looks like a fragment of sky distilled into a pointed blade. And as they move, the sky drifts behind them, leaving trails, and you see into that void, into those drifts, and you see stars in that moment. And as you come out of the trance, you can still feel that muscle memory of that fencer.
Wow. Yeah, so Cal's gonna come out of his trance, and like as he comes out of his trance, it's almost like because the way his eyes are, it's literally looking into a galaxy. It's almost like watching a star like supernova for a second, where it all expands out and then suddenly just shrinks back to like how it normally is, and his pupils return to their normal coloration, and you can just kind of see a galaxy spinning in his sclera.
Fuck yeah, amazing, awesome. So Cal is kind of hanging back as the refugees kind of head off. Kite is on the helm. What about Lux and Lance?
I think Lux would want to be somewhere where she can, probably not on the deck because again, visibility not great. But you know what? I think she is at the moment just fucking over Kite's shoulders, like looking out. Probably hovering uncomfortably close to Kite as Kite is piloting.
Kite's ear is doing that thing where it flicks, like like when a cat's ear is like you're too close to the cat and the cat's ear is just like twitching, like
yeah. Uh-huh.
And it's really funny because Kite is like in the helm right now, so Kite's not even really home in his body. This is just like subconsciously happening as she's just like leaning over.
Yep. And she also, I mean, she has been finding a little bit of maybe what could be dopamine in getting reactions out of Kite anyway, so it's kind of fun to experiment with, if that's what you can call fun. So yeah, she's just watching. She's just watching, like looking, like surveying what like outside the window, but like also just hovering over Kite.
Sure, yeah. You peeking up the window, you can see much the similar sights. You can also looking down at the newly installed orrery. You see that Respite is laid out in three-dimensional space there. You see the huge sucking black hole at the center, and then you see the three kind of smaller settlements orbiting kind of placidly around it, in a very similar way that Kite had seen earlier.
Okay, is a black hole normal for this place?
Define normal.
Has it been here for a little bit? I don't know. Like, is it
for this place?
Yeah.
Make me a history check.
Okay.
To see how much you know about Respite.
Okay. 18.
18. I think that Lux has never been to Respite before, but she's heard tales that part of the reason for Respite's existence is that this settlement was not created out of a want to do so. This settlement was created out of a necessity and an emergency, and uh, that the settlers that originally settled this location, they were kind of forced to do so by circumstances.
Just vague circumstances, not really clear.
They were heading towards the frontier without an FTL, and they got pulled off course by this orbiting black hole.
Okay. All right. So in a way, this black hole kind of created Respite.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. That's all.
No, happy to, of course. Yeah, I think this may be what might have been what Lux was like this is just kind of general information that Lux has from the Knights Accord, like being filled in on general details of the system, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, perfect. And what is Lance doing in this moment?
Lance is, I think, towards the bow of the boat, kind of regardless of what visual conditions are out. He is fully in the visual, like the obvious position on the bow, looking out over where we're headed.
Excellent. So, Lance, you are the first person to see walking up the gangplank a human-looking individual. They appear to be wearing they've got like classic dock worker clothes on, and they look up at you, Lance, and they go, "Are you the proprietor of this vessel?"
We have sort of a co-owner situation going on, but I am one of them. Yes.
Oh, excellent! Congratulations. Fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to get you situated. Do you have your ship registration?
So this is actually a brand new ship.
Sure. So of course, the registration from the manufacturer then. Well, that'll work.
Yes. Is it something that I think I could maybe forge?
First, make a deception check for me.
21.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Great, because we need that in order for us to be able to get you situated. It's part of the deal with us working a little bit with the conglomerate. And he rolls his eyes at that. Do I think that you could forge this? Go ahead and make me a flat intelligence roll. Unless you feel like you have something better in this moment.
Is anybody else near Lance?
I think that
Can Lady give the help action?
I'll say yes. Lady can give the help action at this moment.
Okay. Well, yes, pardon me. I just need to go inside for a second. I can go grab that for you, okay?
Of course, excellent.
And I'll head back into the ship.
Like,
I would like
okay?
to hop on. Do we have sort of any kind of computer, maybe an Ioun stone or something?
You do have the Ioun stone that Lux stole.
Okay.
So, one of y'all had it last, yeah.
I do have it currently. Would I be able to... Okay, so I have a spell called Digital Phantom. It's kind of like Pass Without Trace, but for hacking. Could I try and use my Ioun stone to maybe hack into somewhere where I can find a registration to Photoshop, something like that?
I'm gonna say that I really like this idea. So what I think is gonna happen in this moment is that, like, Ioun stones aren't meant to be able to be used like this. It's like, you're trying to basically, in order for you to be able to do this, you're gonna need to jailbreak the Ioun stone first.
Yeah.
Which is normally notoriously difficult to do, but you can go ahead and give that a shot. It would be an Arcana check at disadvantage, which is made normal by Lady.
Okay. Ooh, that's only a 13.
Are we in the same area as Lance?
Well, the other thing is, can I restore balance on myself so that I remove the
Love this.
disadvantage? So
Oh, you're using
still at,
balance.
Nice.
so
throwback.
restore balance. If I see a roll of advantage or disadvantage, I could just prevent it from being affected by advantage or disadvantage.
Can I see the? Can you post the text of the description?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna allow that. Go ahead and roll another Arcana check.
Okay.
I love this so much.
19?
The DC was 20.
Oh,
But as you go to modify it, you feel like without restoring balance in that moment, the Iron Stone would have just cracked on you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go get everyone and say, okay, we need registration.
Question. Above table. Would Lex as a Knight's Accord have access to anything that fakes registration?
The Knights Accord definitely has access to fake ship registrations. Lux does not have access to fake ship registrations on her. No.
Fucking. Okay.
Would Kite have anything useful for this? I feel like he might at least know a lot about ship registrations.
I'll say go ahead and make a history check to see how much you know about ship registrations.
Oh, that went out of my tray. Oh boy.
A good old boy or a bad old boy?
13?
13. You know the general form and shape of ship registrations, but I would say that you know enough to be dangerous, but you don't think that you know enough to be able to like forge one from scratch, like with what you have in the ship right now. You've gotten a lot of paper and all that good stuff, but like there is some like a level of information that you just don't have access to.
Okay. Kite's like, ah, shit, I should have thought about this sooner.
Timbo,
Yeah.
is there any way that I could know what Cal's general reputation with the populace of Respite would be?
Sure, go ahead and make me an insight check. I'll say at disadvantage because it's been a while since you've been to Respite.
Okay, well, with my R-sight, that's going to be a flat roll.
Fuck yeah. Nice.
Oh,
That doesn't sound good.
that's an 8.
Yeah, with the 8, I'm gonna say you get the sense that you have a pretty good reputation here, at least with that one individual, with that one dwarf. But that being said, that dwarf had been in a stomach for who knows how long. So
You got the stomach reputation.
Oh,
It's been
stomach
a hot minute.
reputation.
Um, Hmm.
Hey, how many people can pass through Dimension Door at once? Just wondering.
2, the caster, and the caster can bring one additional person.
So for
Hey, Kite, or hey, Helm. Do you have any information about a ship registration, perhaps?
Unfortunately, I do not. I do not remember my manufacturing. Other
Okay.
than when we met in the stomach and I created this ship.
Okay, please don't ever repeat that to anyone besides us ever again. Thank you.
You got it.
Do you have a printer, Helm?
can I take a look at the Iron Stone? Can I give jailbreaking the Iron Stone a crack?
I'm gonna say yes, but because it was attempted and failed, it's gonna be harder.
Okay. Yeah,
That's self-preservation method.
But lockout.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fair. That's fair.
I think so. In this moment, as y'all are kind of discussing this, Wit has kind of been dawdling a little bit. He hasn't left the ship just yet, and he looks over at y'all and he goes, y'all having an issue?"
Yes.
We don't have any registration for this
Want me to-
vessel.
Do you want me to take him out?
Lux, no.
No, Lux, that'll be worse.
Lux, I literally promised the people, like, that were on this ship that you wouldn't bring trouble to Respite.
Why'd you do that?
Because sometimes people just...
I scare people, that's why.
Well, yeah, but
you scare people because you kill people.
he's not in charge of you. You can do what you want. I don't understand.
Listen, it's a whole thing. Just please don't. Okay.
All right, I'll leave it alone for right now.
I was just offering. As a last resort.
I could
My services.
I could take a look at the Iron Stone. I'd have to roll at 18, probably.
It can help to mitigate the disadvantage.
Does anybody respond to Wit's question?
Oh yeah, we said we don't have any registration papers for the ship.
Wit responds and says, "Well, I do know somebody that might be able to help with that over in Val Heaven, the asteroid field over yonder. That's what they call that ward."
That would be great, Wit. I think that's a really good idea.
It's a fantastic idea. What
Is
do
it
I
gonna
know
be
about
odd that
Val
we're just
Heaven?
leaving after I talk to that guy and we're gonna leave?
We
Yeah,
could get back to him.
You have
Just
to go
tell
get
him
it.
let him know that we're in the wrong place and that that we'll be back. We have to go meet our friends in the other ward.
I'll go down to the door. I'll go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We landed on the wrong dock. I hope you have a lovely evening." And I blow a kiss and I close the door.
"Oh yeah, you seem to have dropped a lot of people off," and then the door shuts.
Oh my gosh!
Incredible.
All right, amazing. Yeah. So, Kite, you get back into helm and take off.
Yeah, I'm going.
You know, while we're doing that, we should still work on our plan B a little bit too. So Lance and Cal can still take a look at this Iron Stone.
That's a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's a very good idea.
Yeah, go ahead and make that check with advantage because because Lance rather is going to be using their class feature, right?
And it's an Arcana check, right?
Correct.
Okay. I got a 22.
Oh wait, it's harder.
It's harder this time.
You feel like this would have done it last time, but the bonus adapted at this point.
Oh, come on!
We're just gonna have to get a new Iron Stone.
We're just gonna have to get a new one.
Oh no!
We're gonna have to chuck this thing.
A small visual pop-up of like a little illusory form emanates out of the Iron Stone, and it is a cute avatar of a woman, or sorry, not of a woman. It's like a cute avatar of a funny little robot, and with a big crystal for a head, and you recognize this as the Ion OS. This is the avatar, and it goes, "Hey there, friends. I see that you're trying to modify my components. I have to let you know it's against manufacturer's warning in order to be able to do so. But I do appreciate the attempt.
I go, oop, and before I think like it does go through the whole message, but like 3 words in, Lance is like, oop, and just like launches it fucking into space.
Oh, just go.
Cal, like in GIF, is like, you shut the fuck up to this Iron Stone.
Stone.
As it disappears, like over the edge of the ship, it says, "Continuing to modify the device."
Oh my god.
Amazing.
Oh.
While y'all are also,
Sorry, was that an overreaction?
You know what? No, I
Yes.
don't think so.
Yes.
Listen,
I think that was the right choice.
If we had continued to tamper with it, it definitely something would have happened. We wouldn't have liked any of it.
Or give it to someone more capable, maybe.
Oh, would you point us in the direction of someone more capable, Lux?
Y'all
Well, I
are
can't-
so lucky Kite can't hear any of this.
speaking of Kite, as you have actually come into Respite,
Mhm.
like with the new sensor technology that has been interfaced into Helm, you actually get a comm signal coming from Respite, like a general radio band.
He'll turn it on.
Hello and welcome to the daily Sheedanism broadcast. I'm Delilah Day and I'm here with the daily hit.
Kite turns it off.
No, she's so camp. Turn it back on.
I'm gonna jump off this ship if she continues to talk.
Kite
Okay,
says,
that's an
without
overreaction.
hearing Lance, Kite says, Lance, I am not turning it back on.
Helm says, like audibly, it goes, "I can pipe in individual psychic feed into your mind if you'd like, Lance."
That would be lovely.
Sure. You've got it. Mentally, you hear the voice of Delilah Day in your head, Lance. She goes, it kind of cuts in like midway through the headline. New Leviathanic flavor to hit the market, Fractalicious, has been unexpectedly discontinued.
No.
Representatives have stated that despite testing well, they were disappointed with the sales numbers. However, since the announcement of the discontinuation, sales have skyrocketed as collectors attempt to buy the few remaining bottles.
No.
Okay, thank you, Helm. That'll be enough for now. Seems that the interruption of production within the Fractal has a bit of a boot up Leviathar's ass in terms of Fractalicious.
Ugh.
How are they even shipping that from the belly of an ancient primordial being?
I mean, listen. Knows.
You'd be surprised.
No, I wouldn't, unfortunately. That's the problem.
So y'all are having this kind of brief conversation as y'all mosey the very short distance between the Founders Ward and Val Heaven. You see that it's quite a close distance between the two different wards, and in fact, as you motor over that direction, you see that there are several small like little buggies and rickshaws that are like bringing people back and forth from Val Heaven to Respite and back and over to the pavilion as well. You see people float to and fro in the space, traveling from point to point, building to building. And when I say buildings, they're mostly asteroids with adornments. Like their bodies are made out of rock that have been like chiseled away and had metal structures mounted and added onto it. No two buildings look the same, and the wares that you're seeing like being displayed are range from the incredibly average, just like clothes and general food stuff, to like rare and exotic. Like you see like pens with like strange and curious alien looking animals and creatures on display, to just the downright strange. Like you see one of the sight that catches your eyes, there's like a dump going on where like people are dumping their refuse, and you see like these large snails with these gleaming shells and these large like flail-like tendrils like eating and consuming this goop. And there's just like all kinds of stuff going on as y'all are kind of making your way through. If anybody would like to make a history check to see what they know about Valheaven, feel free to do so.
I would like.
All right, let's go.
Oh yeah.
I know nothing.
Nope.
You're just a little guy.
I'm just a little guy. I rolled a 7 for the audience.
I got a 19.
I got a 17.
So I'm gonna say, Lux and Cal, y'all know this environment like a little bit better for very different reasons. Lux, you know this environment because this is one of the most dangerous places in the entire bubble, Valheaven. It is a truly free market in the sense that there are no laws and that there is no regulation of any capacity. And as a result, there is always a bigger fish, even when you think that you are the biggest fish around. And as a result, it is a great place to get weapons and armaments and stuff that you can't normally find anywhere else in the bubble. And Cal, you know that this place is dangerous as hell. Like, not only is the gang presence in Valheaven copious and dangerous, but there are also, like, it's known that like champions will sometimes come and search out specific things in this very surreal, like, bizarre style environment, as well as other people and other individuals of note. It's a very dangerous place, and like the chains that hold these like asteroids together, these buildings, there's like enough space for like spelljammers and to slip through them. So like crossing is also like treacherous, as well as ships are known to just slip through those gaps at will, as y'all are kind of like making your way over. Wit, y'all get kind of fairly deep into Valheaven towards like the central area, and you see that this is mostly like shipyards and mechanic spots, and you're flying for a good minute when Wit points out a nondescript, unlabeled mechanic shop, and he goes, "There, that's the one. Pull in there."
Okay.
Where are you taking us exactly?
I have an old friend named Favre. He's pretty good mechanic, pretty good shipwright, and he used to help out with the rebellion back in the days. Somebody that's in the know in this place.
Okay. Well, heads up. There's no regulations on anything here, so,
Yeah, everyone keep your head on the swivel.
Yeah, got it. Mello will bring him down.
Perfect. Yeah.
I'm sorry, hello?
What?
Hoopst?
Oh, did I say Mello? Oh my god. Kite.
I almost didn't catch
What?
it either.
Yeah. Different character, I apologize.
go back to the last campaign.
Yeah, so Kite pulls the spelljammer down into like a small dock. The garage door opens up and y'all pull in. Kind of in the background while this is going on, you see like there are like these thugs accosting like a man in like a dark cloak, and as the garage door is shutting, the cloak like opens up and tentacles whip out from underneath and start to grab the thugs and throw them off, and the door shuts on that scene as y'all make your way, as y'all find yourself in the garage. Favre, a large, just absolutely like ripped orc man, sees you and he goes, "Can I help you?" And then he sees Wit come down and he says, "Is that how you treat an old friend?" And he goes, "Wit, you son of a bitch." And they do like the Predator like arm, like hoorah, and they like, "How have you been? It's been so how many cycles at this point?" And with, you know, they catch up very briefly. Looking around this, like you see a couple of other like junkers in this place, like mostly kind of seemingly broken down for scraps, other pieces of spell jamming equipment going on, as well in this space. Does anybody do anything in this moment while they're catching up?
Well,
Kite?
Lex is gonna look around.
Yeah, Kite's like observing the room and his ears are like doing that swivel thing.
Hal is also just like being aware of his surroundings, but he does have his usual just kind of like happy-go-lucky face on. He probably looks a bit like a mark.
I would like to just kind of casually hanging out and around, but I want to actually be listening to Wit and this orc and figure out like if this is a rebellion thing or something.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, everybody go in and make me perception checks.
Perception.
If I have Itzel help me, can I get to 26?
I got
Sure.
a 21.
I got a 24.
A 9.
Oh, Lance.
The dice are trying to tell a story.
I am just casually looking around.
Lance, you're attempting to overhear what they're talking about, but it seems like they're talking in almost like an encoded speech pattern. Like it feels kind of like almost like a little bit like thieves' cant to you as they're peppering away. Lux, with the 26, you definitely, I think, spot that they're kind of similar to what you had seen in Stomachton. You see that there is a back door that is like kind of slightly off its hinge, like that would lead to a back kind of rebel room that you had seen in Stomachton in the deli. And Kite, you got a 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kite, a flyer catches your attention. It's kind of like tucked underneath a drink. Like it seems like it's been like it's on top of a stack of stuff, and then there's like a drink on top of it. So it's kind of seems like this was like one of the most recent things that was being looked at. And you pull up the flyer, you remove the drink, pull the flyer. There's like a ring mark on it from the condensation, but it's still very much legible. And you see it reads Respite 25th Annual Grand Prix, and you note that the date is next week.
Interesting. Kite will kind of like read it over and then think to himself about the amount of money that might be. He sits there quietly reading it and thinking about it for a moment. And then he gets Lance's attention. He gently knock Lance's arm and show Lance the thing.
Interesting. Cool. Cool.
Yeah, as you look over the flyer, you see that there are there are a few different rewards that are available, but the first place reward really catches your eye, I think, Lance. I think this probably would have been what caught Kite's eye as well. The first place reward is a ancient piece of recently unearthed Chronolorian tech.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
is that that's kind of big? Just in general, that is the big ticket item.
Yes, that is the
Okay.
big ticket item, and I think both you and Kite would be very much aware that that is like a multiple thousand, if not multiple tens of thousands of gold piece value in that,
See?
because that could be used to potentially make and find new meta magic materials.
Does it mention at all the location?
Oh yes, you see that there's like a mini map kind of on the as part of the design of the flyer, and it seems to imply that the race will be around the black hole of Respite.
Interesting.
Kite points at the reward, or like the first place prize, and he's like, that could be really good for Helm. Like,
It could be huge.
just he's so lonely.
Well, I was speaking to Helm about it, and there's like this area of some sort of familiarity that he has, and I'm wondering if I wonder if that might be maybe portion of a memory bank or something that might be his.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That would be really big for Helm.
I don't know what it is, but I think that might be what was kind of pinging on the map. Aside from what I was expecting, there was like a second ping that I think it has something to do with Helm.
Then I think maybe we should consider it. We could probably talk to Lux and Cal, since I feel like they need to be consulted. We don't really own Helm, but like we're all with Helm.
Mm-hmm.
And like he seems to like get very stuck on this idea of like not Helm is ours, but like they need to be consulted, you know?
Yeah.
Because like Helm is kind of ours as a group.
Cute.
And he's like, I can't think about this right now. Either way, I think this would be good, and maybe a good thank you for helping us.
Awesome. Yeah, I think as y'all are kind of finishing this conversation,
Hey, Timba,
yes.
did I get anything on a 21?
Say, I think with the 21, Cal, you recognize that this is like a chop shop. You get the sense that like spelljammers come here and are broken down and are refitted and retrofitted based off those parts, right? Like this is like clearly there is some level of scrapping happening here where ships are being dismantled and then and broken down into component parts.
Interesting. He plays with like a tendril of hair, and he goes to the group. You know, we could probably pick up some components for Helm here.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, look around. There's parts aplenty around. I'm sure he'd be able to retrofit just about anything throw at him there.
That's a good point, actually.
I have a question.
Hit me.
Yes.
My question is, are they talking in Thieves' Cant?
On a literal level, yes, but they're not talking in the dialect of Thieves' Cant that you know.
What? Oh! God! Okay.
You hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
You definitely
Jesus.
recognize that the Thieves' Cant that they're speaking is Rebellion Thieves' Cant, though.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Neat. Hey, while they're talking, hey, can I... You know the door that's open? Can I go in there?
Are you just gonna go through that door?
Well, I'm wondering if I can sneakily go in there.
You can do anything that you want. Do you want to attempt that?
Oh my god.
Timbo, this is too powerful. Putting too much powerful.
power.
I can't handle it. Absolutely. Okay, if I want to do it, if the scene allows Lux to possibly sneak in there, but if like it's a wide open space and there's no fucking possible way that she could get in there, but if there's a chance, I'd sure like to try.
Well, there's always a chance. It's for the dice to decide, though.
Yeah.
Let the
Yeah.
dice tell a story.
Yeah.
How many times can we say that tonight? Don't drink every time we say the dice are trying to tell a story or some variation of that phrase.
If you're above 21 and you're okay with drinking, go ahead and drink every single time we say that tonight.
No, I feel like
not
you're gonna
die.
get alcohol poisoning.
It would be like 3 drinks at this point. They'd be fine.
That's no biggie. It's cool. It's fine.
It's fine.
Please drink responsibly. So what's Lux doing?
Let's see. So I think that she's at least gonna try to look first, like slowly. If there's a way to look, like, if there's a way to look and see if there's, without entering it.
Sure. Are you trying to be sneaky about it?
Absolutely, I am.
Okay, perfect. Roll a stealth check for me.
Okay. Hey, funny.
Can I roll to see if I see Lux just like sneaking off?
Sure.
Go
Yeah,
for it.
absolutely. Go ahead and make a perception check. Lux as well. Let me ask: do you want to use Itzel for this to have advantage on the roll?
Of course.
Okay. So 27 is the DC to beat, Cal.
Hey, the dice are telling the story, baby. That's a nat 1.
Oh no.
Once again, she has just invaded my sight.
Look.
Well, you give Itzel the distraction command, right? The classic.
Yeah.
And he goes over to towards Farv and Wit, and he like looks up at them and yips at them, and is like obviously wanting pets, and they start to pet him, and using that distraction, you peek your head in, and you do see that there is very similar to the stomach tin door. There is a stairwell kind of leading down.
Can I go? Can we go down?
Sure, yeah. You slip into the door, head down, and find another door in front of you.
Can I check for alarms or something?
Sure, go ahead and make a perception check.
Okay. 16.
16. You do not find any alarms or traps on the door. However, you do find that it is locked.
Can I try to pick it?
Sure, yeah, I know you have lockpicks. Go ahead and make that lockpicking check. You have proficiency with lockpicks, right?
I do not have that written down.
Okay.
I have lockpicks written down. I just have disguise kit.
That's okay. Go ahead and make a sleight of hand check then.
Okay. Oh.
A 6. Yeah, you have you've kind of pulled one of the hairpin out of your hair and are attempting to jimmy the door open with that. But as you slide it into the into the lock and go to twist, it snaps.
Can I do knowledge from past life? I mean, I don't know if 6 more would help if I got 6. I get maybe not. Ugh.
That's your call.
Oh god, no, because the door's closed, so I really want to open the door. But I don't know if a 12 would do it.
The lock does seem fairly tough.
Nothing a survival check could help with that.
Nope. Not at this point. And the 6 was low enough that the bobby pin has now snapped off inside of the lock as well.
Damn it!
So the lock is also jammed.
Okay. Do I know? Do I know of anything? Another way of opening doors besides a lock.
Yeah, I mean, you could try to break the door down.
Oh, can I do it silently? Is that possible?
I'm gonna say on that one, they're not gonna be able to smash the door in quietly. That's gonna be like attacks and stuff. And you won't get sneak attack on the door. Where you at?
No sneak attack on the door?
Why not?
Oh.
The door
Okay.
is so surprised.
Oh. Oh, fuck. Wait. Can I see through the crack at all? Like, the crack in the door? Like, is there any visual?
You could try. Go to make a perception check at disadvantage.
13?
13. The door is flush with the wall, and there's not a crack to see. And
There's not a crack?
You try to look through like the underside of the door, and you try to peek through the lock hole. It's sealed.
God, you know. Ugh.
Rude.
This door. Damn it!
So I'm gonna say we cut back away from Lux trying to Jimmy open the door. We cut back upstairs. Wit and Farv have finished having their reunion, and they turn back to the group, and he goes, "Excellent. My boy Wit here says that you might be able to help me out with, or that you need help with a certain registration issue."
Yeah. Yeah, we need help. Yeah, we have a ship. It needs to be registered.
Excellent. Well, I just so happen to have a nice brand new ship registry just here, almost ready and waiting for you. It's fresh off the market. It's got about a cycle, or it's got about 2 weeks or so worth of time left on it before it's got to be re-registered. But at that point, you can rename your ship whatever you want. You'll just have to go under that call sign until then.
What's the catch?
I see you're a smart fellow. Well, these registrations they don't come around very often, and I was hoping that, and my friend Whit here says that you're quite competent individuals. I was hoping we could go for a little, you scratch my back, I scratch your back, that kind of vibe.
Certainly.
Well,
Depends.
we need to know what he would like us to do first, but I'm sure that could probably be arranged.
That's very shrewd of you.
Kite's got the right idea.
Yes.
You certainly are a shrewd cat. Yes. I have a small business that I run. In addition to all of this, and he gestures at the mechanic shop. I'm sure you caught the Leviatar broadcast as we were coming in. Fucking garbage, polluting the airwaves. I've got a little bit of shall we say, a pirate radio going on, much to the dismay of the conglomerate. But unfortunately, recently it's gone offline, and I was hoping somebody could be like, somebody could go see what the fuck's going on, basically.
Oh.
Have
that
you
seems-
sent anybody to check it out already?
No. This is gonna be you'll be the first.
Can I roll insight?
Sure can.
Cool.
Me just ready to be like, oh, that seems easy enough.
I have advantage, so 22.
You can tell he is clearly lying through his teeth. You get the sense that, like, looking around the room, especially, you see that there is like some, like, it looks like gear that has been left behind that doesn't look like it belongs to him. And as he kind of sees you, I think, see through his facade, he goes, all right, y'all will be the third group I've sent out there.
Okay.
Oh.
Cal's eyes like narrow a bit. His voice lowers. As like you just hear like the friendliness just like drop out of his voice, and he goes, "All right then. So if you're going to ask us to do a favor for you, you need to level with us. What's the deal?"
Truly, I do not know what's going on. It could be Glom goons that have taken out the radio station. I genuinely don't know. Like I said, none of the teams that I've sent out have reported back, unfortunately. So if you could find out what happened to them too, that would be great.
Mm-hmm. And what's with all the extraneous gear around here?
Oh, that stuff that was left by the last parties. They said they would come back for it, and then, like I said, they never came back. If you find them, you can give it to them, I guess, if they still want it.
I think that for not being entirely forthcoming with us, you should throw in a little bonus.
What did you have in mind?
We can discuss that when we get back.
Oh man, you really got me by my throat here, don't you?
I don't like to, but sometimes I have to.
Well, what I hear from my boy Wit here is that the four of y'all are some of the where's the small one?
The small.
I'm right here.
Cal looks around and he's like, "Oh God!" And he reaches out telepathically. Lux is within 120 feet of us, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
He reaches out telepathically until he can just kind of key in on her, and he's like, "Lux, where are you?"
Can she respond?
Yeah. It's a two-way connection.
It's telepathic, so yeah, you can speak back.
Okay, cool, awesome. And she says downstairs. I can't get this door open. Oh my God.
Can you not just break into people's stuff? Come back.
If I just...
Come back.
She just walks up the stairs and exits the door, and it's just like, hey, where's your bathroom?
Make me a deception check.
Oh,
Where's your bathroom?
No. That's my worst deception check. I have an 8.
It's gonna roll inside.
Oh boy. Oh no.
I got a 7 on the die.
incredible.
Oh my gosh.
Looking for the bathroom, huh?
Oh,
Yeah. Yes. That door's locked. If someone's in there, they're not responding.
Uh-huh. And so you thought the bathroom was behind the secret bookshelf door.
Oh, is that what it was? Secret bookshelf door?
Yeah. Yeah.
She's like, look, I thought it was like a design thing. Everyone's doing weird stuff now with interior design, so.
Uh-huh.
I didn't see any other door.
Uh-huh. Favre looks back at Cal and he says, well, I think that makes us about even, don't you?
No! Wait, I got an 8 and he got a 7, right?
he got a 7 on the die.
On the die, he's got a mod.
Damn it!
Oh, Lux.
Cal just
Wait.
in disbelief.
Wait. Can I use knowledge from a past life now?
No!
I would say too late. Too late.
It's a little late.
Alright, continue. I accept the beat. It's fine.
Cal goes, yeah. Sorry about her. She lacks home training.
He's got suddenly a little bit of a vein popping up in his forehead, which you didn't notice before he caught Lux. And you see him take a few deep breaths, and he goes, you know what? That is all right. I've been having a bit of a bad week, so I'm gonna go ahead and ignore this as long as we get the satellite back up.
Yeah.
Then you will get everything that you want. Registration, ho.
All right. Yeah. Sounds like we have a deal.
Favre puts his hand out to you, Cal, to shake.
And Cal puts his hand out and gives him a firm handshake.
Perfect. And with that, I think we're going to go ahead and call this session there. Man,
Perfect.
What an ending.
Oh my
Oh, boy.
gosh.
Beginning of a great friendship.
Look, if she
You can't
stayed, if
just
she would have
break into
stayed
people's
down there, she could have
places.
snuck back out. It's fine. It would have been fine.
No, it wouldn't have.
He noticed you were gone.
Yeah.
Wow, what an ending. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. We're going to go around one last time so you can find out where to catch my lovely, lovely party. A werewolf. When do you start?
Hello, hello, hello. My name is Werewolf BF. That is where, as in the question, wolf as in the animal, and the letters BF. You can find me basically everywhere with that tag. And I can be found here every Sunday night, either for Tales of the Riot Nexus or Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I am active on Twitter, and I am doing stuff. Oh, oh. The 12th, I am going to be in a Monster Hearts one shot that is based around Love Island, and it's called Blood Island.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
So I'm going to be posting about that on my Twitter. So follow me on Twitter for updates on that. It's going to be very fun. The cast is really cool, and we've all started introducing each other to each other's monsters, and it's going to be very fun.
Hell yeah. That's the 12th, you said?
Yeah.
Wait, so that's like almost like 2 weeks out from now. Maybe even a little less. Sweet. Awesome. I cannot wait for that. Excellent. Next, we have Galaxy.
Hi, I'm GalaxyBot. You can find me at GalaxyBot on YouTube and on TikTok. And then if you want to find me being obnoxious on Twitter and rarely tweeting, you can find me at JustGalaxyYT. Galaxy is always spelled with an IE for me. And then hopefully in the next couple weeks, I'll have an announcement about my book for you guys. So look out for that.
Woo! I can't wait for that. Awesome. All right, next we have Reich.
Hi, I'm RideQ. You can find me at twitch.tv/RideQ. I stream on most weeks. I stream about 2 to 3 times a week, doing chaos variety stuff. So follow me on the air.
Perfect. And last but certainly not least, we have Domino.
Hey y'all. You can catch me at twitter.com/DominoRBG. You can find me at most places on the internet at DominoRBG. Definitely find me here every other Sunday for Tales of the Riot Nexus. But yeah, keep a lookout on my socials. I'm usually announcing whatever next thing I am working on or guesting on.
Awesome. Perfect. And yeah, next week, next Sunday, we're going to be doing the next episode of Mad Mage, episode 11. And then 2 weeks from now is going to be the next episode of Tales of the Riot Nexus. We've also got another show in the works that is going to be coming up. We're thinking maybe in around, maybe at the end of July or mid-July. So keep your eyes out for that announcement coming up very, very soon. But thank you again so much, everybody, for being here. I super duper appreciate all the likes, follows, all the hype train, all that good stuff, all that goes to funding the magic, and I'm incredibly appreciative of. But until next time, I hope you have an excellent upcoming week, and don't forget to stay magical. We'll talk to you very soon. Goodbye.
Bye.